The global economic stage is once again ablaze with tension as the world's two largest economies, the United States and China, find themselves locked in a high-stakes trade dispute. But here's the shocking part. While President Donald Trump accuses China of hostility, Beijing firmly places the blame on Washington's doorstep, claiming it was Trump's actions that reignited the flames of trade war. This heated exchange has sent shockwaves through global markets, leaving industries trembling and the future of trade negotiations hanging in the balance. The conflict escalated rapidly over the weekend, with Trump threatening to reinstate triple-digit tariffs on Chinese goods in response to Beijing's decision to impose sweeping export controls on rare earth minerals, a move Trump labeled as surprising and hostile. But China's perspective paints a different picture. According to Beijing, it was the U.S.'s expansion of restrictions on Chinese firms that forced its hand, tightening its grip on these critical resources, essential for everything from smartphones to electric cars. And this is the part most people miss. This isn't just about tariffs and trade deficits. It's a complex dance of power, strategy, and national pride. China's Commerce Ministry has made it clear. They're open to talks, but not while the U.S. holds a gun to their head with threats of new measures. Chinese experts argue that much of this escalation could have been avoided if the Trump administration hadn't piled on additional restrictions in late September, significantly expanding the list of Chinese entities under export controls. Jin Canrong, a prominent international relations professor and government advisor, didn't mince words. He accused the U.S. of playing the victim after biting the hand that feeds it. After taking a bite at China, the U.S. now pretends to be innocent, he wrote on Weibo, a popular Chinese social media platform. This sentiment reflects a growing frustration in Beijing, which sees Washington's actions as a series of petty maneuvers designed to undermine China's economic progress. But here's where it gets controversial. While some argue that China's control over rare earths gives it an unfair advantage, others point out that the U.S. has long used its own economic might to exert pressure on China. For instance, the U.S. has imposed restrictions on semiconductor exports to China, limiting the flow of critical technology. Beijing's recent moves, experts say, are a mirror image of these U.S. tactics, signaling a new era of tit-for-tat economic warfare. The stakes are higher than ever. Paul Sciollo, a China and tech expert, warns that we're at the edge of an abyss again, with both sides fully aware of the potential consequences. The renewed tensions threaten to derail months of painstaking trade negotiations and cast doubt on a planned meeting between Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping in South Korea. While Trump has hinted at canceling the meeting, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent remains optimistic, telling Fox News he expects it to proceed. Here's the kicker. Despite the heated rhetoric, there are signs that both sides are willing to step back from the brink, at least for now. Trump, in a recent Truth Social post, struck a surprisingly conciliatory tone, stating that the U.S. wants to help China, not hurt it. Meanwhile, China's Commerce Ministry has clarified that its tightened rules on rare earths are not export bans, and that licenses will be approved for qualifying applications. This subtle shift in tone suggests that neither side is eager for a full-blown trade war, despite the tough talk. So what's next? Wang Yiwei, an international relations scholar, believes China is now fully prepared to deal with Trump, having studied his tactics and identified America's weaknesses. It's the U.S. that's getting anxious, not China, Wang asserts, pointing to domestic pressures on Trump, including a prolonged government shutdown. With China's near monopoly on rare earth processing, the U.S. will likely remain dependent on Chinese supplies, at least in the short term. The message from Beijing is clear. Cooperation, not confrontation, is the way forward. As the world watches this economic drama unfold, one thing is certain. The U.S.-China trade relationship is at a crossroads. Will cooler heads prevail, or will we see a return to the tit-for-tat tariff wars of the past? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear. The global economy hangs in the balance. What do you think? Is China justified in its response? or is Trump right to push back against what he sees as unfair trade practices? Let us know in the comments below.